tasked with assembling an elite team to travel through time. All your worlds are about to change.
Hey guys, Nick here, and welcome back to another Legends of Tomorrow episode review. My thoughts on tonight's episode titled Shogun, and this is a fun little episode. While again not furthering the story of the season or dealing with, the villains of the season or anything like that, it was fun, kind of like episode of the week kind of thing, where that's what, sometimes I enjoy these episodes of the show where they just kind of go back in time, something bad happens, they have to fix what they did, and then by the end everything's okay. This episode had enough in it that I enjoyed. It was cheesy, a little over the top at times. Again, overall, I really enjoyed it. But I have a feeling this review is probably going to be pretty short compared to other reviews, considering there wasn't a whole lot to really delve into. There's a lot of cool Easter eggs and other stuff in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and start talking about the things that I enjoyed in this episode. So this episode definitely centered on Nate's steel ability finally coming to fruition, and him finally he's just learning to control his ability and dealing with that, as well as obviously him and Ray and the whole team being caught in feudal Japan, and kind of seeing Nate's chemistry with that Japanese woman. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, I apologize, but it was a good episode for him in terms of how since he's still so new to the team and new to us as an audience, that we kind of needed to see more of his his personality and kind of where he comes from, in a sense. Because the last few episodes I feel like have been the last few episodes have been a lot of his story, and they're kind of starting to make him one of the more lead characters, and I'm starting to like him. He's not the best character on the show or anything like that. But there's nothing there that's making him interesting to me. And honestly, seeing him in his Citizen Steel form, honestly, like as you see behind me, I think it looks great for a TV budget. It definitely has the X-Men Colossus, the look of Colossus from X-Men, or at least up until Deadpool, where that's a completely different Colossus. But it still has that kind of look to it. That's just very just completely metal look to him. While in the comics, his look is slightly different, where he has the whole bodysuit that's metal and stuff like that. But I think in the context of the show, it works, and the CGI looks great for, again, being a TV budget, especially being on the CW. I think that looks good. And obviously, there's a lot going on in this episode between everyone. Ray losing his armor to the Shogun. And Nate's relationship with that woman, who we find out is actually a descendant of Katana in this universe. And I'm glad that they're still leaving those Easter eggs for us fans, because with how they use Katana and Arrow and Deadshot and Arrow and some of the other members of the Suicide Squad, pretty much since marketing for the Suicide Squad movie started really having its heavy push, we started to see less and less of the Suicide Squad's characters in the Arrowverse. And now, even though they're completely separate universes, I thought the shows for a while were just trying to keep away from the characters that they're using for the movies, because they don't want people getting confused or whatever. But it's you don't necessarily have to do that. People who watch the shows, I think, can see the difference between these characters. So I feel like I'm straying off top, but I like seeing the nods to Katana and other characters within the Suicide Squad realm of the characters that have been introduced in these shows. So I like seeing that little nod. And another one of the cool things in this episode, which I think is gonna definitely cause some conflict later in the season, is when Jax and Stein find that secret compartment of the Wave Rider, and they find a message from Barry 40 years in the future. And of course, they don't tell us as the audience what it is. And of course, at the end of the episode, they're like, "Do you think we should tell him what Barry said?" "Oh, I don't think we should tell him." It's now it's gonna create. I think it's gonna create unnecessary conflict. Yes, in the warning, Barry says that the team shouldn't know. But it's come on, at least let us know the audience, because now I feel like they're going to string us along and be like, "Oh, what's this message going to be? What's the warning from the future from Barry?" It's just, I don't know, that was just a little nitpicky thing where I like it as an Easter egg for us, and knowing that Barry from the future is trying to warn the Legends team, but at the same time, it's come on, I hate when shows do that, when they purposely have a story thread that they don't let us know as the audience, and then they make us wait for like forever. Kind of like last year with Arrow, like, ooh, who's in the grave? Who's in the grave? And then we end up getting super disappointed. Then I end up stop watching the show because of how they fucking handled that shit. Sorry, that was again a little off topic, but just, I don't know. It's just those kinds of sort of things I'm not really fans of. So let's see what else. One thing I thought was interesting in this episode, we got to see more of Ray being more. I mean, Ray in general is like an overly confident person sometimes, but in terms of how he is in this episode, I feel like he kind of had to step up and to be like a leader in the way he like Sarah was kind of making him train. Sorry, that's my phone going off. Making him train Haywood and making sure Nate's abilities are under his control and stuff like that. And I thought it was a really cool dynamic between the two of them, because I think they're gonna have a really cool dynamic, because I think in terms of who they are as characters, they're a lot more alike than anyone else on the team. And just kind of seeing Ray in this episode kind of come to terms with, like, of course, him having to be reminded that it's not the suit that makes the hero, and blah blah blah, and like stuff we've all heard before. For Ray, obviously, by the end of the episode, they destroyed the Atom suit, so now he's gonna have to make a new one. So does that mean we're gonna get an entirely new suit, or is it gonna be more of the same thing? I don't know, but yeah, I liked how they used him in this episode, kind of further his character development a little bit. But even though we did backtrack a bit with having to remind him that the suit doesn't make the hero and all that stuff, I think where it's gonna like where we end up is gonna introduce a new dynamic for him, because he's still gonna be working a lot with Nate and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that. Another thing that I thought, another dynamic which I thought was interesting in this episode was the dynamic between Amaya and Mick, because Amaya just sees Mick as nothing but a thief and a criminal, so she doesn't trust him in any way whatsoever. And with Amaya, I'm really wondering what they're gonna do with her as a character, because she's part of the JSA, so it's like, is she gonna end up going back? I mean, I would think she would have to at some point, because she is the grandma of Mari McCabe, the Vixen in the present day. So that totem that she wears that gives her the Vixen powers has to somehow go back to the 40s, so that way I can go to Africa and be given eventually to Mari McCabe. So I'm not sure what they're gonna do with her as a character and how long she's gonna be part of the Legends team. I'm liking her. I'm cool that they're having like a version of Vixen on the show, because I think they wanted to bring in the actress who plays Mari McCabe and have her be on the show, and I would have been all for it. But I guess because the actress's like schedule and stuff like that, she can only do her animated appearances and stuff like that for her animated show that they do on CW Seed. And I don't know. I'm just curious how they're gonna handle her character moving forward, considering she's gonna have to go back eventually. So there was that, and then seeing her dynamic with Mick was interesting, because that's one thing I like about these shows. They give us like a chance to look at different character dynamics that we wouldn't have seen if the show didn't exist. So I like seeing their dynamic, especially since they're two completely different characters, and by the end there's kind of like that not camaraderie, but just like a I guess some sort of sense of respect on some level. I don't know. So let's see what else is there. I don't know. I think overall those are all stuff I wanted to talk about. I mean, the action I thought was great. Sarah's fighting scenes were all great when she like stabs the one samurai with her small knife as they like are charging at each other, are taking on all the samurais and the ninjas and stuff, and then Mick's whole thing with the ninjas and stuff like that. I thought that was kind of fun to see. And overall, I thought this was a fun episode for what it was. Again, didn't further the story or anything really. And I'm hoping that we start seeing more episodes geared toward the main storyline of the season. And I know it's pretty much once the four-way crossover happens and is over with, then they're probably gonna start pushing more towards what's gonna happen towards the rest of the season, and focusing on the main story there. The episodes of the week are fun, but I want less of those and more of the main story. Especially since we're dealing with the Legion of Doom, and Captain Cold is going to be coming back at some point, and I've been waiting for him to come back, because he was on... Wentworth Miller was on an episode of The Flash the other night, but it wasn't a proper return as an appearance. It was like a flashback and then a hologram thing where he didn't actually come back. I mean, the actor did, but the character really didn't. So, yeah, so those are my thoughts on tonight's episode of Legend of Tomorrow. What did you guys think? Send your thoughts in the comment section below. Give the video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for all the content I upload every week. That's going to be it for me once again, guys. So, thank you for watching, and until next time, have a good one.